Think positive.
Welcome or welcome back to the Golden Bros podcast, GA for short. I'm your host, Prince. This is a space for inner work, self-improvement, self-discovery, mindset, accountability, integrity, reflection, and personal development. This podcast is built for growth, for honesty, and for becoming a better version of yourself one day at a time. New episodes drop every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Today's episode is called Mental Release. The mind doesn't stay empty. It collects daily tasks, to-do list, deadlines, responsibilities, and then there's everything else. The thoughts that don't get finished, the conversations that replay, the emotions that don't get named. It builds slowly. Mental fog. Not because life is falling apart, but because nothing is being cleared out. Feelings, emotions, truth, all sitting there, unspoken, unwritten, unreleased. And most of the time, it gets overlooked. Because on the outside, everything looks fine. But you would be surprised how much you actually have to say if you sat down and wrote it all out. No filter, no performance, no audience, just you and the page. Sometimes I'll start writing, thinking I only got a few thoughts in me, and then it keeps going and going and going. And I'll sit back like, damn, I didn't know I had that in there. That frustration, that gratitude, that pressure, that clarity. All of it was just waiting. Mental release isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not a breakdown. It's a clearing. It's taking what's scattered and giving it somewhere to land. Because when everything stays in your head, it feels heavier than it actually is. But once it leaves you, once it hits paper, you realize it wasn't chaos. It was just crowded. A lot of mental fog is just unexpressed thought. A lot of stress is just unprocessed emotion. A lot of tension is just truth that hasn't been spoken yet. Overthinking is just trapped energy. It's the same thought running laps in your head. Different angles, same conclusion. And it feels productive, but it's not. It's just repetition. And repetition without expression turns into anxiety. Sometimes writing it out or speaking it out isn't about solving it. It's about stopping the loop. Because once it's out, it can't circle the same way. And the crazy part, nobody might ever read it. That's not the point. The point is that it left you. The point is that you made space. The point is that you faced what was there instead of running from it. Mental release is discipline. It's honesty. It's self-awareness. It's saying, I'm not letting everything sit inside me unchecked. Because clarity doesn't just show up. You create it. And mental release isn't only writing. Sometimes it's what you create. Sometimes it's what you practice. Sometimes it's what you pour yourself into. That thing that clears your head while you're doing it. That thing that makes everything else go quiet for a minute. When you channel your thoughts into something meaningful, that's release too. You're not holding it in. You're moving it through. And anything that moves doesn't stay stuck. It doesn't always fix the problem itself. It doesn't erase what you're facing. But shifting your focus, even for a moment, frees you. It reminds you that what's out of your control doesn't get to control you. But sometimes freedom isn't solving it instantly. It's not letting it consume you while you're still solving it. Some thoughts don't need solutions. They just need somewhere to go. Holding everything in doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you heavier. And heaviness changes how you move, how you respond, how you carry yourself. Not all weight is visible, but it's felt. And if you never let it out, it doesn't disappear. It settles. Most pressure isn't loud. It's quiet and constant. It hums in the background, during conversations, during work, during silence. Nothing dramatic happens, but something never fully settles. And over time, that low hum becomes the baseline. Normal doesn't feel light anymore. It just feels managed. The mind keeps unfinished business open, not on purpose, just by default. Anything unresolved stays active, not screaming, just present. And presence without closure turns into weight. That weight spreads into tone, into timing, into reactions that don't match the moment. Because the moment isn't alone. It's attached to everything before it. Containment has limits. Everything does. Thoughts pressed down don't dissolve. They compress. And compressed things don't vanish. They harden. Hard things don't move easily. They resist. And resistance shows up in places that don't seem connected until the pattern becomes obvious. What stays inside doesn't stay neutral. It changes texture. Sharp thoughts turn dull. Clear reactions turn delayed. Energy shifts without explanation. Nothing obvious breaks. It just becomes harder to stay present. Harder to stay steady. Harder to stay light. Not because something new happened. Because something old never left. Unreleased emotion doesn't disappear. It redirects into impatience, into distance, into indifference. It shows up in tone before it shows up in words. It shows up in silence before it shows up in confrontation. And by the time it becomes visible, it has already been active for a while. Mental space isn't unlimited. It stretches, but it doesn't stretch forever. Every stored reaction, every unfinished thought, every suppressed response takes up room. And when space runs low, clarity gets crowded out first. Then patience, then focus, not all at once. There's a difference between holding composure and holding everything in. Composure is temporary. Storage becomes permanent. And permanence without intention creates tension. Tension that lingers in posture and breathing, in the way conversations are approached. Subtle shifts, but consistent. Nothing needs to explode for damage to exist. Nothing needs to collapse for strain to be present. Slow accumulation is enough. Layer after layer, moment after moment, until the internal atmosphere feels heavier than the external situation. And that's when disconnect starts. Functioning on the outside, hurting on the inside. That's why release matters. Not for drama, not for spectacle, for reset, for recalibration, for space to return. Because without space, everything competes for attention at once. And when everything competes, nothing feels clear. Too much stays open. Too many thoughts have finished. Too many reactions held back. Nothing fully dealt with. It just stacks, one thing on top of another. Not loud, just there. And when too much is there, focus drops. Patience drops. Energy drops. Not because something huge happened, because nothing was cleared. Silence hits different when the head is full. It's not peaceful. It's busy. Thought after thought, moment after moment, all asking for space. And when space isn't given, everything feels tight. Tight thinking, tight breathing, tight reactions. That's what holding it in does. It tightens everything until something finally gives. So, if the mind feels crowded, if the thoughts feel scattered, if the emotions feel heavy, write it down, all of it. You don't escape it. You either face it, handle it, or feel it later. I hope you found something worth taking with you today. maybe a new perspective, maybe a moment to pause and reflect. Thank you for being here and sharing this space with me. Your presence matters. If this resonated with you, share it with someone you care about because growth spreads through connection. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Stay grounded. And as always, be safe.